Close out the month of May in style, the USL Championship Eastern Conference affair. It's the first of two between Miami FC and North Carolina FC. Good evening to all, wherever you may be, with Ricky Lopez-Espin. I am David Gascon. Thanks for hanging out with us this Memorial Day weekend. Ricky, we got two teams in that playoff spot on the outside looking in, and for Miami FC, a lot of self-inflicted wounds early on.
And we had the chance to speak with Antonio Torino. One thing that he said, it was just individual mistakes that really cost us the game against Phoenix Rising. You look at this bad giveaway in the back from our goalkeeper, and then it's just defensive lack of rotations, lack of willingness, and yet again, lack of reading the game. So now if you are Miami FC, what does the reaction look like? You're playing at home against a struggling North Carolina FC side. Big 3 points are up for grabs for the home side.
Yeah, and when you think about what Miami can do, what they have done, well, they're going to make a change in between the pipes here tonight. Felipe Rodriguez, the young 19-year-old, will get his first ever USL Championship start. He's got a lot of pressure, but I think in this spot, not so much, considering the fact that the other two keepers really haven't done their job.
Against a North Carolina side that scored 11 goals this season thus far, so how comfortable can he be? I won't be surprised if we see this Miami FC play the ball back into him, get his feet underneath him, let him play into this game. I do think for Felipe Rodriguez, decision-making, that's going to be the #1 key for a young goalkeeper.
Yeah, and on the other side of things for North Carolina FC, they haven't been too well either. Their inaugural campaign in USL Championship, you mentioned it, on the road, they're not a good team overall. They can do some things up front. What makes them so potent?
You see on the road, 3 losses, 1 tie, not an easy feat going into Pittsburgh Riverhounds, but yet they dug down and found a way to get on the other end. Really good header from Conway. We're going to see him start, and I do think it's something to build on for John Bradford in this North Carolina FC side. You go into Pittsburgh Riverhound, you steal a point, and now you're coming down to Miami FC, who hasn't won a game in a very long time. How quickly can you get up to tempo?
Yeah, and that's one thing for North Carolina so far this season. They only have 1 point in 4 road contests. They're going to come on the road here today and get the 1 point or maybe even 3. How are they going to do it?
And this man, Luis Perez, he's going to play on the left-hand side. He can beat you through combination play. He can beat you through 1v1. He has the ability to whip in a really dangerous ball. His movement is really top class for NCFC. How quickly can he get up to tempo and get in a rhythm? He needs to be very good for the visitors here today.
See so far in 11 matches, a couple goals and a couple of assists. He's one of the leading strikers on North Carolina this season. Coming up on their side, we're going to get you a starting 11 and first touch. It's a warm Saturday night here in South Florida. Glad you could be a part of it. Coming up next, we'll get you Miami FC, North Carolina FC coming up next.
Some people think Miami is just flamingos and palm trees.
And hell yes, we have badass sunsets.
But Miami's Little Havana,
Doral,
Little Haiti,
Hialeah,
Wynwood, Coconut Grove,
Kendall,
Calle Ocho, Sweetwater, Homestead,
cortaditos y coladas
empanadas y croquetas.
is so much more. This is the 305.
This is who we really are. This is what we are all about.
I am Latino.
I'm a disruptor.
I am LGBTQ.
I am a villain.
I am a mother.
I am Haitian.
I am an athlete.
I am an activist.
I am a king.
I am American Dream.
I am the future.
I am.
I am
NCFC.
No one was born a hero. It's an everyday journey. There are no shortcuts, no days off, no perfect scenarios. Things won't always go the way you expect. But overcoming challenges is part of the game too. Your time is now. When passion runs through you, become your own hero.
Over 2,000 Toyotas are in stock and on their way to Toyota of Hollywood. Get our lowest price on every Toyota, including Corolla, Camry, Highlander, Tacoma, and RAV4. Like a Corolla LE, not $24,000, $17,975. We'll pay you up to $2,000 over Kelley Blue Book value for your trade. That's $2,000 more than it's worth at Toyota of Hollywood on 441 between Hollywood Boulevard and Sheridan Street. Open till midnight.
This portion of the broadcast is brought to you by micromobility.com. Toyota of Hollywood. We speak your language. Hablamos tu idioma. Volkswagen dealers of South Florida. Check out local offers at vwflorida.com. And Baptist Health, your orthopedic care specialists. And we are live here with Ricky Lopez-Espin. I am David Gascon. Ricky, there's two of us. And these two gentlemen, head coach John Bradford and Antonio Nocerino from Miami FC.
And you look at this North Carolina FC side, 2 wins, 4 losses, 5 draws throughout the start of this 2024 campaign, but yet you come down to Miami FC, a team that's struggling in terms of their confidence, in terms of their form. So the visitors, big opportunity to kickstart their season, and we had the chance to speak with Antonio Nocerino, and I asked him, what's the message to the side? And he said, we don't have a message. It's for the players to understand, and this is going to be the first 11 that steps up for Miami FC. It all comes down to Cabral and Booth. You're looking for those two to dictate tempo, to sit right in front of that back four, and then you look at fluidity in the front four. Whether it's Luisinho, Ayambila, Molina, and Genzano, the ability to rotate and get different spots of the field. But you have Luisinho. I think he's going to be a game changer for Miami FC.
Yeah, you mentioned Genzano. He was removed from last week's contest because of an injury. The one guy that's not available again in back-to-back weeks, Frank Lopez, not in uniform tonight because of an injury. So that's exactly what Antonio Nocerino will go with. On the flip side for North Carolina.
And then you go with a 3-4-3 formation wide for John Bradford. But yeah, you have fluidity. You might see Lamar Baptista put a little bit deeper, Armstrong push higher with that front three. Anderson, he's going to be the one that stays high, occupies the center backs, and Louis Perez and Evan Conway, the ability to dictate tempo to really produce that little bit of individual brilliance.
Got a former Miami FC player too, Jake McGuire, in between the sticks, along with Paco Craig. We spoke glowingly about him a lot last season. For McGuire, 2-2-3 record, goals against it's at 1.14, and the save percentage at 58%. So, Ricky, overall it's going to be a humid day. Temperatures at 84 degrees. This kickoff is underway. North Carolina moving from left to right on your screen. Miami in their home kits moving from right to left. Miami's lost last week to Phoenix, a 2-0 defeat. But you mentioned it in the open of the show, Ricky. They didn't play bad at all. It was just 2 miscues in between the pipes, and then all of a sudden you get stung and you fall 2-zip.
And that's a position that you need to be probably your best in terms of decision making as a goalkeeper, the ability to read the game, to come off your line, and that's why it's a big challenge for this young man. First start here at home, and do you see already how comfortable Miami FC is trying to get him on the ball a little bit to get his confidence up.
Yeah, you talk about getting your feet wet. That is the deep end of the pool. USL Championship season debut for him. Now, on one side for Rodriguez, yes, he's young, but he did see a little bit of activity in the U.S. Open Cup match when they got beat by Tormenta. He came in relief for Kadeem Nadia, who picked up a red card. And that defeat, a 4-2 loss, so it's not like the 19-year-old has no work this season, but regardless, a different animal here today. Against the North Carolina team that frankly doesn't score a lot of goals. They have 11 so far in the season. Miami just won better with 12. With that being said, at least North Carolina does pick up some points. They come in with an overall record of 2-4-5. They have 11 points, and here they go on the approach. Have some decent numbers. Decent tackle there by Cardona. And this will result in a corner kick. You can hear the wind humming a little bit. Wind's blowing out to the east at 10 miles per hour. Look a little bit harsher than that. North Carolina's goal differential so far this season at a -2. As you see that flag blowing out, or blowing in, I beg your pardon, but I swear it's a little bit more harsh than what the weatherman delivers. Here's Maldonado. Maldonado making his 9th start of the season, working the back post. That strike goes wide of the net.
And the set pieces are going to be really interesting for Rodriguez. How he reads this game when he comes off his line, and the ability to command your 6-yard box is going to be the point of emphasis. On the other side, if you are John Bradford and this NCFC side, you go after him, you test the young man early.
Conway had a pretty decent look but just on a sharp angle and try to get it on target and could not do so. Let's see how Luis Perez navigates this back line of Miami FC. A couple goals, couple of assists. They just don't have a lot of firepower up front. Alex Anderson has a goal so far this year. Ayambila. Luisinho, middle of the park. They trade spots. Andrew Booth. Booth getting the start here today. Looking for Molina. That pass way too out in front of him. You're thinking about this, Ricky. It's similar to last week against Phoenix, where Miami FC, according to Antonio Nocerino, they had a good 10 to 15 minutes, and all of a sudden the air went out of the balloon and game was over.
Now you already see the build-up phase for this Miami FC a little bit different. He's going to step up into the middle of the park just to create an overload. So now that takes a player out of the midfielder and puts them higher next to Luisinho and Andrew Booth.
Molina, pretty good strike that's headed away. Playing this all the way back to Rodriguez. Rodriguez trying to push this thing forward for Molina. Booth trying to get to it, but cannot. Both these teams on the outside looking in the Eastern Conference playoffs. Charleston Battery, still the leader of the pack. They have one loss in the season, but they have racked up points left and right. They had 27 to lead everybody in the East. In fact, everyone USL Championship. Molina trying to work a little nutmeg with Paco Craig. Jersey tug. And that's our first booking in the match in exactly the 6-minute mark.
Just silly, foolish from Molina. He knows he's beat. There's just no need to pull the jersey right in front of our center referee. You just see the traffic around Paco Craig. A slew of awkward jerseys. So now, 6 minutes in, you're on a yellow card, a big test for the young man in terms of his discipline and his positioning. Little things like that really drive head coaches up a wall in frustration.
Trevor Wiseman, the lead official today. So Maldonado will play us back to Washington, to Batista on the left-hand side. Miami FC 2-8-1. At home, only a couple victories, 5 defeats. And for Antonio Nocerino, still a lot of question marks for his team. One of them, how are they going to produce points? And two, how can they get healthy? They're not the walking wounded, they're the limping wounded. It feels like week in and week out, there's an issue with their starting 11. The combination's been changing since probably about the halfway mark of April. Perez getting a little tongue lashing from Trevor Wiseman. It's one thing, Ricky, if you have a veteran group and injuries are sustained because you feel like there's guys on the sidelines that could pick up the slack, but it's another when you have a completely new team and it's just a bunch of young guys. Booth in the middle of the pitch along with Molina. Ball taken away nicely.
Going back to your point, David, it's really interesting because you look at this youth, the inexperience for Miami FC, and that's something that Antonio Nocerino mentioned on our phone call. Said we don't have players that have been in USL Championship, that have had a lot of success in USL Championship. So at the same time, we're finding real-time solutions for these players. As we see Ezra Armstrong down for a head injury. He's a really important piece of what North Carolina FC likes to do on both sides of the ball. His work rate, his quality.
Hopefully he does not need to see optometrist. He's got a couple of goals this season. Luis Perez still barking a little bit, and Trevor Wiseman. Perez from Paris, France. Had 7 goals last season for North Carolina. Ezra Armstrong making the move up to USL Championship. Appeared in 41 matches for MLS Next Pro. Metrano trying to go back the other way. Taken away by North Carolina. Here they work on the counter. Metrano, delicate move, trying to keep it. He cannot do so. Anderson shoots. Nice stop there by Rodriguez. First test for the 19-year-old, and he answers it.
Just gives you the ability to be direct. Anderson, as he plays off the shoulder of Metrano, he hits it well. That's going to do a world of confidence for Rodriguez. Secure save, no spillage whatsoever, parries it away from traffic. But he's a special player for North Carolina. The ability to move in between center backs, to run the channel. It opened up space for players around him. Oleg Sanderson's going to ask a lot of questions of this Miami FC side.
Paco Craig's header, rather limp on it. Back comes Molina the other way. Yeah, Ricky, on that note, I feel like with the young team you were talking about it, probably feels like it's Felipe Rodriguez's job to win the rest of the year.
100%. I mean, you mentioned it in the open, whether it was Gagliardi, whether it was NDA, there was just countless of mistakes that are so preventable.
Yeah.
Especially with their experience at a professional level and the talent that they have. So Antonio Chirino, well-deserved, gives this young man the opportunity and instills a trust for him. And now what do you do with that opportunity? That's going to be the next step for Felipe Rodriguez.
Yeah, there's just different points in the season. If you look back at Miami's record at 2-8-1, you could pinpoint different spots in a match that either playing it back or an error simply on the keeper resulted in a goal and a possible defeat. Now, of course, you can't pin it all on the keeper because you feel like you need a goal or two to give you a chance of a victory, but regardless, that's the difference between no points and 1 at the bare minimum.
A little bit more an aggressive approach to this match as well for Miami FC. You just see the line of confrontation about 25 yards away from their attacking goal, really forcing NCFC to try to break their pressure with ball playing ability. We have Beek playing in the middle of the field. We've seen Metrano be aggressive, stepping off his line as well. So now if I'm John Bradford and the visitors here, I'm telling my back line just to play direct. Play that side in behind the high line and let Anderson, Conway, and Perez run onto it.
North Carolina working quickly on the restart. Nice job by North Carolina and Maldonado to keep this thing in. Paco Craig. Back to Jake McGuire. McGuire from Chino, California. Was with Miami FC for a couple seasons. He was with North Carolina FC back in 2021. 2021, I beg your pardon. Got our second yellow card of the contest here in the 12th minute. So a lot of chatter, a lot of chirping. Let's see, look at Dalton Knutson. Knutson with his yellow card. It's a rarity for Dalton. How rare? It's his first yellow card of the season. Miami FC is not an overly physical team. They don't get into too much trouble. Maldonado pushed and pressed away. Here's Perez. Ball on the cross. This one has a little bit too much air on it into the box. Metrano here. Perez. The cross again. That left-footed strike by Perez blocked on the way through. Ping-ponging around. Maldonado squares this thing up. Nice stop there by Rodriguez. Didn't even have to move an inch. But no rebound.
See the oncoming pressure for North Carolina. Really good ball back across the face of the 18-yard box by Maldonado as he gets a second bite at the apple. Very calm and composed, the center midfielder shifts it onto his left boot straight at Rodriguez, but yet again, really good signs and really good start for the youngster between the sticks.
Gotta give a lot of credit to Maldonado there. I don't know how that ball got through a wave of bodies on target.
I think the center of the field is really strong part of North Carolina FC, whether it is Colin Martin or Maldonado, the ability to pull the strings, move the ball from left to right, really experienced and have a really good balance, those two for the visitors.
Was portion of the broadcast brought to you by Toyota of Hollywood. We speak your language, hablamos tu idioma. 14th minute. Couple decent moments for North Carolina, nothing to brag about yet for Miami. But Felipe Rodriguez has made a couple nice stops with North Carolina threatening for the first marker of this contest. Maldonado going to take a second corner of this match. Rodriguez looking on. See if he works short here. That header had a threatening chance, but not too much spunk on it. Let's see the passionate look from Perez again. One team's got plenty of spunk early on, Ricky, and it's not Miami. More trouble from the back. Miami FC trying to recover. Beak trying to fling this thing forward, and they can't.
Just too predictable for Miami FC. Whether it's a sloppy touch from Knutson, whether it's a ball that's just being portrayed from Beak, and Ian Billa on his heels, makes life very easy for this North Carolina side just to step up and force turnovers in a more advantageous position.
Yeah, predictable, telegraphed, all of that. But these things are easily identifiable when watching game tape too. So if you're North Carolina and the coaching staff, these are things that you'll hone in on. Given the fact that Eastern Conference and Western Conference opponents, when they fare each other in the same conference, they'll see each other twice in a year. You'll get that scouting report and you get to build some familiarity. Luisinho can't hold on to it. Push forward. Anderson can't get to it. Rodriguez will have to race off of his line and switch the pitch. So possession's been controlled by North Carolina. Shots are in their direction. Scoring opportunities are also there for them. 4 shots early on, 2 of them already on target. North Carolina came into this contest with 93 shots in 11 matches. Given away though by Paco Craig. Good anticipation from Ian Billa. Wonder if he probably should have kept that ball for another 5-10 feet. Minute, you see Antonio Nocerino on the far side trying to direct some traffic. It's a humbling experience last week going on the road and losing to Phoenix, especially after they had a good effort in the first 10-15 minutes and then it was soiled away because of some mistakes. But they really didn't have a lot of offensive punch. Frankly, doesn't matter if you give it 1 goal or 5. If you have no fire offensively, you're in for a long night. Last game for the month of May, and then we spring our way into June. And for both these clubs, the ambitions of cracking the top 6, 7, or 8 spots in the Eastern Conference. It's a tall task. A few of the clubs in the Eastern Conference that we thought would be there in the end didn't come out of the gate strong, one of them notably Pittsburgh. But we do expect clubs like the Riverhounds to be there in the end, amongst the qualifiers anyway. Beak. Chip, a little bit of backspin. Luisinho can't get to it. Luisinho and Frankie Lopez, who's not playing today, provide different sparks. McGuire alertly coming out as Molina trying to give chase. And it looks like Jordan Iambill is down the deck, and he is.
Awkward coming together between Conway and Iambilla. I don't think there's any ill will from the winger from North Carolina. Just catches, seems like the left leg of Iambilla. Hopefully he's okay. He's been a constant for Antonio Nocerino on this left-hand side, the ability to be direct and stretch out oppositions.
Nicholas Cardona and Antonio Nocerino having a brief conversation. Cardona has been a staple in the back line for Miami this season, making his 12th start in now 12 matches. Spent a couple of years with Chattanooga Red Wolves SC in the USL League One. Iambilla not looking great. Can only hope that he does return. Similar to Genzano last week, where he went down early but just could not give it a fair fight. As you see a little bit of rain. It's your type of weather, Ricky. Hurricane weather, right?
Oh, I hate this weather. Give me 90 and humidity over this any day of the week.
Hopefully it's just a quick burst of rain. At kickoff, 84 degrees the temperature. And the slight wind, but of course, South Florida weather will do this at times.
So now it's a big emphasis on, if you're an attacking player, the secondary action, any sort of rebounds, you have to be there at the doorstep to smash away. And for goalkeepers and defenders, there's no rebound, there's no spillage whatsoever. And if there is, it's away from traffic.
The approach here, that play was disrupted. Iambilla, good recovery there. Brewers trying to make that cross.
And that's the work rate that he gives you on both sides of the ball. Iambilla, the ability to close down the space and deny Chef Brewer the ball across the 6-yard box. He's been a nice little pickup for this NCFC side from Union Omaha.
Toyota of Hollywood corner kick here. Perez will take it with his left foot. And from France, we'll see if he can deliver. He can. Pretty decent contact there as Batista went on his backside. See Matrano there. Ricky, when it comes to playing on pitch conditions, either here at FIU Soccer Stadium or the football stadium that they usually play on, what's the difference when rain comes into play?
The balls can move quicker.
Yeah.
Your first touch needs to be spot on for every single player in the field. And I just mentioned it, secondary actions, defending, offensive players. If there's a shot on target, how do you follow it up? Because there is going to be mistakes, but how do you recover from those mistakes? That's going to be the key here.
See who's able to play on edge a little bit. Armstrong jumps up into the play.
I'll tell you what, it's the second time now that a Miami FC player has gone into a challenge a little bit rash. Matrano drops his shoulder down the back way. You have Conway This time it's Cardona that catches Armstrong. Need to be a little bit smarter.
Played all the way back to McGuire. Were there ever times during a season when there was rain involved, you'd change the level of your spikes?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
It depends how soft that this surface gets. Do you go to soft ground? Do you go to mixed? Or do you go to stay with firm ground? And when I talk about soft ground, it's the metal studs that you see some players wear sometimes.
Turnover here, Maldonado on the approach. Over on the left-hand side. Anderson couldn't maintain it. Booth here on the intercept. Andrew not looking straight ahead though as they're on the retreat. Everything being pressed back. An aggressive approach by North Carolina, but to their credit, Miami's trying to build up from the back. And Billy here in the dead run. Can't get to it, but for the second time in about 5 minutes, he takes a nasty spill. This time he was colliding on that far left-hand side with Brewer.
It's a nice little battle that we have on this near side. Two players that are similar in their attributes.
See Brewer not looking comfortable. And Billa the same as well. It's a violent collision. Shockingly enough, Billa was able to get to his toes, but Brewer hasn't yet. And Brewer still in some agony.
Affordability, versatility, and most importantly, availability. Volkswagen Sport Utility models are in stock now. Take your choice of the affordable new VW Taos, 7-passenger Tiguan, the Ruby new Atlas, stylish Atlas Cross Sport, or the full electric ID4. All with 2 years complimentary maintenance, quality German engineering, smart technology, and a lower maintenance cost. Visit a Volkswagen South Florida dealership near you and test drive one today. Shop VWFlorida.com.
Back here in the 26th minute with Ricky Lopez-Espin. I am David Gascon, FIU Soccer Stadium. No score yet. It's the first of 2 encounters between these Eastern Conference foes. With rain being a brief visitor here on the pitch. It's going to mess up your Sunday best, Ricky. Your 3-piece suit action. Pinstripes and all. Beak. The benefit here, though, of FIU Soccer Stadium is you're not playing on mud. This is about as good as it'll be in terms of soccer conditions. No major or real big divots. .27th minute. We'll have stats, we'll have highlights. We'll take a look around USL Championship today with some out-of-town scores. Also take a peek at the upcoming schedule for Miami FC. North Carolina will have the week off. And then they'll get back to work as well on June the 8th. Brewer appears to be okay. Gets the ball back after a near miscue. Sweet pass, though. See if he gets it back. He cannot. Perez a little bit too weak on that ball. Cardona, he gets trucked. And Perez beside himself with that foul. Ricky, there's times in a match where you feel like the game itself has an identity. And I feel like in this one, nothing yet.
Just seems very cagey, as no side has really gotten in any sort of rhythm or connected numerous of passes and impose their identity on the opposition. If anything, it's been mostly North Carolina's side that's been putting pressure on the back line for Miami FC. The next step of that for John Bradford is now, yes, we have a lot of the ball, but now what do we do with it? How do we turn that possession into productivity, more goals? Good ball.
Ayambilla here, the cross behind Booth. Ayambilla electing to play that ball inside the 18 as opposed to holding it himself.
Yeah, you have two decisions there if you're Ayambilla. Either go alone or you put it in front of the ongoing runs inside the 18-yard box. Really put it between the back line and the goalkeeper for Maguire. It's a nightmare for goalkeepers to deal with.
And Maguire hasn't been tested yet. Another disconnected call that was made, turned over. Rain has, for the most part, subsided. See if she does come back. Didn't rain earlier today.
You just see how it's spread apart, this Miami FC side. Look at the center of the field. Maldonado has acres of space to get this ball and turn it and change your point of attack. It's little nuances like this for Miami FC. You need to be a little bit more aware, compact in your defensive structure. You can't get spread apart that easily.
Yeah, eerily similar to last week, although the main difference is Phoenix could expose Miami FC, or North Carolina cannot. Not a slight on North Carolina, but they just don't have the skill that Phoenix Rising does have. 31st minute. Lots of action this Memorial Day weekend in USL Championship. Things winding down the US Open Cup as well. Booth asking for delivery. Luisino trying to grab a corner. He can't. Batista doing a nice job of shielding him off. Speaking of US Open Cup, Luisino had a couple goals in that loss to Tormenta. Has 2 goals during the regular season, so 4 all in all in 2024. Can promise you we're not tapping the microphones. That is the rain slowly dropping on top of what they'd call our natural sounds. Pretty violent though. At least to my eardrums.
Yeah, exactly. Give me a nice little headache.
32nd minute. Matrano trying to weave his way through some traffic. He does. Couldn't hold his ground. Lost the ball. Back comes North Carolina on the press. Anderson looking for a lane. Ayambilla, good recovery there. Armstrong here. Ezra. Got a handful of players inside the 18 for him. Armstrong trying to make a move. He can't. It's a good play on the back line, though. Genzano and many others not giving up on it. Another Toyota of Hollywood corner kick.
The first time, 2 times that we've seen Maldonado aim for that near post with all the bodies in traffic right in front of Rodriguez. Any sort of deflection's a nightmare for a goalkeeper if you're looking for a lot of pace.
Maldonado serving this one up. Rodriguez backpedaling. He was square in the middle of the net. Nice move here over on the right-hand side. The cross eliminated there by Matrano. Pretty decent idea on that attempt by Conway, but it was fought off nicely.
He's a player that really hasn't gotten going for North Carolina. Only 1 goal this season was last week against Riverhounds. With a little bit of injuries, but Evan Conway, you've seen how successful he's been in USL Championship especially with his time with the Loyal.
Corner went nowhere. And the 1 goal so far this year, and you're looking at anyone, Ricky, with a spark, and for North Carolina, you're just trying to find out if you get any kind of offense.
It just seems to break down when they get in around that 18-yard box. That's what it's been like thus far for North Carolina, the visiting side. It's the same for Miami FC. Haven't really threatened Maguire, forced him to make any sort of save.
Yeah, Armstrong and Perez each have a pair of goals, and that's it. I mean, if you're not scoring goals, you better be stopping the opposition from doing that. And neither of these teams have been potent on the defensive end. Albeit, though, Miami FC having a much more difficult day at the office when it comes to keeping the ball out of the back of their own net. They've surrendered 21 goals heading into today's affair. Antonio Nocerino making the change with Felipe Rodriguez in net here today. Kadeem Nadie is the backup. Daniel Gagliardi not even dressed. 35th minute. Rodriguez skips out of his net, races away, and puts this thing like into the tennis courts.
He's been good. He's been good, Rodriguez, thus far. 35 minutes in. Reading the game, moments like that. Playing that sweeper keeper type of role.
North Carolina's last match, a 1-1 draw at Pittsburgh. For Miami FC, a 2-0 defeat on the road at Phoenix. But for Miami, 8 losses in their first 11 contests. Maldonado trying to attack, fought off again. This will result in another corner. So it's Maldonado on one side, Conway on the other, and you feel like Perez right in the middle of the pitch. And Anderson as well. Feels like they've pretty much blanketed the attacking third against Miami. Maldonado, line drive, Rodriguez, the two-hander, alertly pounces on that. Everyone's searching for that ball, could not, the keeper's got it. Well, the good so far from Rodriguez is decisive and aggressive.
Two things that we talked about. You have to be decisive as a goalkeeper. How many times have we seen this far Miami FC, whether it was Gagliardi and NDA, not commanding their 6-yard box, maybe a little bit hesitant coming off their line. Now with this young man, knows exactly what he's going to do and how he's going to do it. Like I just said moments ago, it's been a bright start.
37th minute. You know, the young 19-year-old signed as an academy contract player. Bad ball here. See if it works out in North Carolina's favor. Maldonado, second crack at it, goes all the way across. That ball had eyes. Genzano trying to shield Cabral there. Miami FC trying to do anything to keep that ball in bounds, but that would have been in a dangerous area if Knutson actually headed that ball inside the 18. Another corner coming up. So North Carolina continues to flirt with a goal. Miami FC has done nothing on the offensive side yet. 5 shots to 0. 2 of them on target for North Carolina.
And this will be their 7th corner kick thus far.
Maldonado here on service. Ooh, that header just sprinkling wide on the attempt, but Perez and company, the more they get cracks at this thing, the more you feel like North Carolina is going to be rewarded with a goal. Bad pass, picked off.
The second time now, David. It's just so predictable, from Knutson. He's playing this ball into central location, right down the gut of the heart for NCFC. Gives Washington the ability just to step up and pick that ball off. Little things like that need to be a lot better for Miami FC.
As soon as you say that, Molina gives the ball away.
I'm attorney Julian Rudolph. I founded JR Law in 2017, and since then, I've recovered millions of dollars for my injured clients. If you've been injured, I'll handle your case personally from start to finish. Call me today at 877-GET-JR-LAW.
40th minute from FIU Soccer Stadium. Miami FC and North Carolina FC. First of two matches here in 2024. Shots are 5-0, make it 6-0 in favor of North Carolina. And as you mentioned it, Ricky, 6 opportunities that have come via the corner, 7 of them in total, to just 1 for Miami FC. I am Billy here. Jordan. Molina. Roberto plays this one at the top of the box. There is not a soul in sight for Miami. Well, there's apparent holes in the offense for Miami FC, and that's what happens when you don't have Gavilanes, who's injured, not out there. Frankie Lopez, not available. Those guys leave a gaping hole that needs to be filled. Has not happened yet. Metrano. Almost feel like, Ricky, you can get out of this half without it giving up a goal. If you're Miami, it's probably a major victory. Misplay. Booth shoots that ball. Not a lot of velocity on it. So McGuire, who was out, able to recover in time.
Tries to catch Jake McGuire off his line. Andrew Booth go up and over. That's a nice little turn there.
It's the first shot of the game for Miami.
All right, I'll tell you what, I think that should be a yellow card for Metrano. He's beat. Conway just spins him like a top, and he knows it.
Conway not giving much of an argument.
Didn't even call a foul. I'm surprised.
Brewer, tight quarters. Booth can't keep it. Paco Craig, who was there, softly floated up in the air. Cabral and company trying to counter. Cabral gets it back from Booth. Oh, he just played that too far out in front of himself. He was frustrated, and visibly he displays it. Possession right now, oddly enough, close to 50-50. 51% to 49 in favor of North Carolina as Anderson gets dropped, and I am Billo there with the foul. 43rd minute. I'm guessing about 3 minutes of added time here in this first half. We'll wait for confirmation from the 4th official. Maldonado going to take this free kick. Looks to be from a different spot than initially was going to be given, but this is a good location for Maldonado to serve it up.
And he's aiming for right between that 6-yard box and penalty mark. So now when you talk about being decisive, big challenge for Rodriguez. You don't want to get caught in no man's land. And how many times have we talked about this, David? Set pieces are a really good way to kickstart your attacking phase of the game when you're not creating a lot through the run of play. So you're looking for quality in terms of the service for Maldonado and placement.
North Carolina does have some guys with decent size. Conway at 6'1", Paco Craig at 6'2", and Batista at 6'5". It's one of the areas that Miami was bullied last week against Phoenix. They just don't have the size, the length with some of these clubs, and Antonio Nocerino admitted that to us. Maldonado, top of the box. Not a great concept there. It's a bit surprising.
Yeah, that deserves a little bit better from John Bradford and company. Not the best balls in for Maldonado. He pulls it away from goal. And someone gets caught offside. It is Lamar Batista.
You're good there, Keith. You're good there. You're good right there.
45th minute. Rodriguez with a good boot. Rodriguez, a couple saves so far. 6 shots. Ball gets played a little bit out wider. Could be Conway off to the races. McGuire coming out, though, alertly as Andrew Booth had a full head of steam. Armstrong here. Have 3 minutes of added time in this opening half.
Attention, please. The fourth official has indicated there'll be 3 minutes of added stoppage time.
Miami has 1 shot so far to the 6 of North Carolina, but we'll take a scoreless draw, at least for the time being. Luisinho out wide. Luisinho trying to do his best to keep that ball in bounds, and he just can't. A lot of chasing for Miami FC defensively, and I feel like a lot of the players trying to enter the attacking third are waiting for quality service that's never materializing. North Carolina, some heavy contact. Conway, good stop by Rodriguez, who came out to challenge. That shot might have eaten him up, but the young 19-year-old comes back to his feet. He's okay. Rodriguez not looking comfortable right now.
Really good action from the visitors. First, it's Anderson. As his ball falls fortuitously to Evan Conway. It's a good first touch out of his body. The second one, clean contact, but straight at Rodriguez. Give credit to the young 19-year-old. He comes off his line very quickly, makes himself big, closes down the angle, denies Evan Conway the opening goal.
Third stop of the first half for Rodriguez. Might be nursing a stomach ache. Pretty good shot that he took, but one again coming out to challenge, it makes a world of difference.
Keep that ball from going over your white line by any means, David.
Got to do it. See if this is one final push by North Carolina.
You're looking at the rotation in the back for Miami FC now, whether it is Cardona, Knutson, or Mitrano, as one of them gets pulled out of position towards the sideline, the other two need to have the ability to shift over. It needs to be a trickle-down effect. They need to be a little bit more connected. As one steps, you have pressure, you have coverage, you have balance. And in that instance, yes, it takes a wicked deflection, but you almost get caught out and you can see through it.
Armstrong trying to pin this thing into the box. Outside, spin, the move by Anderson, no angle. Still a decent threat here for North Carolina. This one played in, disrupted. And Rodriguez will gobble it up. That'll do it for the first half. So North Carolina with good pace, good pressure, and a lot of action in front of the young 19-year-old Felipe Rodriguez. That man, Evan Conway, had one of the better opportunities in this first half, but he was held off the scoreboard, and all in all, a scoreless first half of play.
I think you take the positive. If you are Antonio Nocerino, you got a clean sheet in that first 45 minutes. Yes, it was that bend, don't break mentality. And now the next step is getting on the ball a little bit more and putting more pressure on the visitors. For John Bradford, a lot of the ball, but the final action was lacking. So now you have two teams, different styles of play, different moments. Big 45 minutes coming up.
Shots were 7-1 in the first half for North Carolina, and they control possession 55-45, but all in all, it is a scoreless draw. 45 minutes in the books here from FIU Soccer Stadium. Miami FC and North Carolina FC are scoreless. We'll be back.
Affordability, versatility, and most importantly, availability. Volkswagen Sport Utility models are in stock now. Take your choice of the affordable new VW Taos, 7-passenger Tiguan, the Ruby new Atlas, stylish Atlas Cross Sport, or the full electric ID4, all with 2 years complimentary maintenance, quality German engineering, smart technology, and a lower maintenance cost. Visit a Volkswagen South Florida dealership near you and test drive one today. Shop VWFlorida.com.
No one was born a hero. It's an everyday journey. There are no shortcuts, no days off, no perfect scenarios. Things won't always go the way you expect. But overcoming challenges is part of the game too. Your time is now. When passion runs through you, become your own hero.
Back here at the break with Ricky Lopez-Espin. I am David Gascon. The Macron halftime report is officially here. You see the score, Miami and North Carolina. Nothing doing just yet in the first 45 minutes of action, but Ricky, all in all, for Miami, it's one of those things where, like you said, you take the good with the bad. The good is, well, they cut the opposing team off the scoreboard. The bad is you just haven't found any kind of rhythm just yet. Look into some other things. The Eastern Conference standings, though, top mark right now, owned by Charleston.
And yet, if you are Miami FC in 12th place, you're only 4 points out of a playoff spot. So big 3 points up for grabs here for Miami FC. It all comes down to this next 45 minutes. And you look at North Carolina, they're in the last, number 8. Big opportunity. If they take 3 points, they can put themselves right between Birmingham Legion and the Tampa Bay Rowdies.
Yeah, you see so many things that can change with the course of one win or a draw. Charleston, top dog at 27 points, followed by Lou City at 23. Indy 11 at 18, and Detroit City FC in the 4th position right now, tied with Tampa Bay, 17 points a pop. On the flip side of things for Sacramento, Western Conference just a little bit different this season compared to last, but regardless, feels like the same old usual suspects at the top of the leaderboard.
But how good has New Mexico United been as of late? I do think it all changed when they lost against the Tampa Bay Rowdies, but after that, Eric Quill is getting his side playing at best. Phoenix Rising, Danny Stone, tough loss in the Open Cup, but yet they face a really good Indy 11 side who's probably the hottest team in the USL Championship at the moment in time, and you go all the way down to number 12, El Paso Locomotive. Wilmer Cabrera comes in, they go to Charleston Battery, they take all 3 points. A new look El Paso Locomotive, and don't be surprised if we see them in around that playoff mark once the playoffs come around.
Nice recovery by Colorado Springs. They were awful to begin the season. Not one single victory, but they've gotten on their horse.
I do think you look at this Western Conference from top to bottom, it's just so tight. Anyone can beat anyone, and that's the beauty and the parity of the USL Championship.
That's what we got in the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference side of things. Look on here, FIU University. A beautiful Saturday night. No score right now. We'll get you some stats and some highlights and take a look around the USL Championship with some news and notes. All that coming up shortly.
You'll get it done.
When termites show up, so do we. Terminix it.
Traeger up over the top. Tristan Traeger. It's in.
Opportunity here. The hit and a goal.
The best nights start with Jägermeister. Made with 56 botanicals. Always served ice cold.
Take a miracle to come back from this. Heartbreaking end to the season. But what's this?
For the moments when anticipation
Clock's counting down. 5 seconds. 3, 2.
becomes celebration. Jägermeister. Meister the moment.
They're hungry for the women's game. They want to see women's soccer. They want to play women's soccer, and that's what we're building at the USL.
You can see it in my eyes when we walk past. Got me every night, won't settle for less. Got me looking to the sky, got me feeling blessed. Got this fire burning up inside of my chest. Burning up inside of my chest. Got this fire burning up inside of my chest.
Looks great.
When termites show up, so do we. Terminix it.
No one was born a hero. It's an everyday journey. There are no shortcuts, no days off, no perfect scenarios. Things won't always go the way you expect. But overcoming challenges is part of the game too. Your time is now. When passion runs through you, become your own hero.
Halftime right now, Miami FC in North Carolina. First of 2 encounters between these Eastern Conference mates. 45 minutes here. Goose eggs across the board with Ricky Lopez-Espin. I am David Gascon. Ricky, time right now to dip into some news and some notes around USL Championship. We'll lead things off with the U.S. Open Cup quarterfinals, which you were a part of.
And you look at Sacramento Republic's New Mexico and Indy 11, they're advancing, and that will take place on July 9th. Really difficult games for all of those involved. We're expanding the USL family. AV Alta FC is joining in 2025 in Lancaster, California. Near you?
Yeah, it's up the 405 freeway up off the 19. It's like minor league baseball park country.
Okay, there you go. There's your Google tour right there, and then you have coaching update. We talk about Brian Clarehout. He's relieved out of his duties. Wilmer Cabrera appointed as the new coach of El Paso Locomotive. 1 game under his belt, 1 win. Massive turnaround. Look forward for El Paso Locomotive.
There was a minor league baseball team that used to be there in Lancaster called the Jethawks, and it was near an airport runway where it was just straight launching pads. So, you know, the weather there pretty dry, obviously in Central California, at least when you get past out of Los Angeles, the valley, so it's not that bad. But July 9th, got to mark your calendar. Got a birthday coming up. I need a nice present from you, Ricky. So. Got the quarterfinals and a gift from Ricky Lopez-Espin on there.
There you go.
So, how would the bracket bundles up, and we'll complete things in the month of September. But I don't know, a little money out there. Who do you got? Who do you got, Ricky?
This is going to be really tough. If I have to pick one USL Championship side to advance, it has to be Indy 11. Atlanta United, they haven't been the most convincing in MLS play. Needed pens against Charleston Battery, but yet you choose Indy 11 knowing that they're not going to host, and they will have to go to either Sporting Kansas City or they would have to go to FC Dallas. Mark Briggs and company, Sacramento Republic's top left, they're hosting Seattle Sounders. Seattle Sounders probably have not one of, if the hardest USL Championship schedules. They took down Blue City, they took down Phoenix Rising, and now they have to go into that mecca, which is Sacramento Republic and what Mark Briggs is doing. And then LAFC, we know how good they are at their home stadium. New Mexico, really difficult feat to take down the giants of MLS.
Yeah, it should be fun. And the best part is, too, is these matches will be available for free as well on Apple TV. So that's one of the luxuries that we'll get. They've been free all season long online, but Apple TV will open up their pathway as we look at the team of the week in week number 11 USL Championship. Robbie Nielsen, the coach of the week, but the rest of the deployment here with Adam Grimwitz between the sticks.
And Forrest Lasso, really heartbreaking news that he comes out of the Tampa Bay Rowdy camp that he tore his ACL. He'll be done for the remainder of this 2024 season. We see Paco Craig here today. Aiden Stanley has really come of his own as of late in Indy 11. Taylor Davila, Charlie Dennis, Ezra Armstrong as well, two players for North Carolina, resulting of their efforts at Pittsburgh. Arteaga, Cal Jennings, probably the most, if not the two, most potent attack duels in all of USL Championship.
Yeah, that's a huge shot to Tampa Bay's mystique this season. We'll see how they trek the rest of the way. But that is team of the week here, number 11 USL Championship. And right now, scoreless at the end of the first half between North Carolina and Miami FC. When we come back, we'll get you some stats and some highlights and a whole lot more. Second half is right around the corner between North Carolina and Miami. Don't go anywhere.
Over 2,000 Toyotas are in stock and on their way to Toyota of Hollywood. Get our lowest price on every Toyota, including Corolla, Camry, Highlander, Tacoma, and RAV4. Like a Corolla LE, not $24,000, $17,975. We'll pay you up to $2,000 over Kelley Blue Book value for your trade. That's $2,000 more than it's worth at Toyota of Hollywood on 441 between Hollywood Boulevard and Sheridan Street. Open till midnight.
Affordability, versatility, and most importantly, availability. Volkswagen Sport Utility models are in stock now. Take your choice of the affordable new VW Taos, 7-passenger Tiguan, the Ruby New Atlas, stylish Atlas Cross Sport, or the full electric ID4, all with 2 years complimentary maintenance, quality German engineering, smart technology, and a lower maintenance cost. Visit a Volkswagen South Florida dealership near you and test drive one today. Shop VWFlorida.com.
Young, hungry, determined, no icons, products of our environment, predators. This is our moment. We are Miami FC.
This portion of the broadcast is brought to you by micromobility.com. Toyota of Hollywood, we speak your language. Hablamos tu idioma. Volkswagen dealers of South Florida. Check out local offers at VWFlorida.com. And Baptist Health, your orthopedic care specialists. Getting ready for the second half. Wind dying down a little bit. The rain has quietly departed as well. No score yet between Miami FC and North Carolina FC with Ricky Lopez-Espin. I'm David Gascon, the Macron halftime report. And Ricky, the first half highlights and stats of this thing, just not a whole lot from one side, but North Carolina fared well. just didn't get the result they needed and wanted.
It was very cagey. It was North Carolina FC. They were the one putting pressures. They were the one really testing Felipe Rodriguez in the final third, whether it was Anderson, whether it was Evan Conway. Those two have a nice little relationship starting to form. And you already see they start this game and put pressure on the back line for Miami FC as we go a little bit deeper into this first half. Set pieces, we talk about how important set pieces can be, the fine margins, but yet the youngster, the 19-year-old between the sticks, he's been really good at commanding his 6-yard box and very decisive off his line.
Yeah, added time in this first half was a dangerous moment here as Anderson quickly on the approach. Gave it up to Conway, and Conway tried to go 5-hole, I guess you could say, against Rodriguez, but a little bit too much lift on it. It dropped Rodriguez like a sack of dimes, but he was okay. He saw 7 shots in that first half, 3 of them on target. He kicked all of them out. He looked sharp. So we'll see if he can get any kind of support offensively for Miami's offense here in half number 2 as it begins. Miami going from left to right in North Carolina, and their white uniform combination today moving from right to left. If there's anything you would change if you're John Bradford, what would it be?
The final action.
Yeah.
The killer instinct, the ruthlessness, the tenacious nature in the final third, because you're doing very well getting yourself into that final third, but now how can you be a little bit more clinical to really test Felipe Rodriguez?
For the 8th time now in 12 matches, Miami failed to score an opening half goal. That just puts so much pressure on the team as a whole and your offense when you can't get off the deck in the opening 45 minutes of play. Cabral, line drive service. Luisinho. Luisinho was seldomly used and had little activity in the first 45 minutes worth of action. And now Trevor Weissman bringing on the training staff here. Got a nicked up player. Let's see Bryce Washington. Didn't get a great look at Washington. Let's see where that contact came, the man from Atlanta, Georgia. Logging over 5,000 minutes in USL Championship action. There is John Bradford. Washington, who spent his time last year with Loudoun United, coming here in the inaugural USL Championship season for North Carolina FC. Play has resumed. Beat Cabral, Booth, in the exchange, given away. Perez on the left-hand side, Louis got it now. Let's see if Louis squares this thing up, gets bumped off nicely. It's a pretty good arm check by Beek, and he is frustrated with that call. This will be a dangerous moment now for North Carolina. Beek, that was a blatant foul, and he just simply bumper card Perez off that ball.
It's been a really interesting wrinkle in terms of the tactical game plan for Antonio Torino. You put Beek a little bit higher up the field, and now you challenge him in terms of the responsibility to cover ground. When you drop your shoulder to the backside of a player, you're always going to get yourself in trouble. More importantly, now you offer this NCFC side really good opportunity to go up and over the wall and really test that young man. Comfortable distance for either Louis Perez or Colin Martin.
You're taking this, where are you going with it?
If you're Colin Martin, you're going up and over, bending it away from the goalkeeper into that near post. But for Louis Perez, really difficult to bend it around to get it back in to that near post. I do think Louis Perez will take this one.
You are right, but he drives that ball into the wall and he eats up Andrew Booth. Booth caught that ball right in the grill and he is down.
Not the fun part of being in a wall. What comes with it, but very bravely sticking together, not turning your back. Hopefully Andrew Booth's okay to keep on going.
Yeah, he got hit flush, and you see he got hit in the jaw. Anything above the shoulders you'll be cautious of. Antonio Nocerino continues to work, continues to coach. Phoenix Rising, Indy 11, tied at 1-1. Tampa Bay and Las Vegas, goose eggs at the moment. For Miami FC, after this contest, they'll get Lou City on June the 1st. Oddly enough, that's North Carolina's next opponent. That is June the 8th, though. Booth smiling, at least for now. So we'll get back to work here. Armstrong, Perez. Back post combination, that header finds the back of the net. While Conway gets on the board in the 51st minute. Exactly what he needed, so did North Carolina in the opening half, but the lucky recipient here off the assist from Perez, and it's 1-0 for the road team.
Back-to-back games, a header from Evan Conway. Really good run from Armstrong. He pulls out the player with him. That gives a window for Luis Perez to put a dime of a ball into that back post. And Evan Conway just wants it more. The strength to fend off his individual marker. Hands it back across where it came from. No chance for Rodriguez. And get to second on the season in two games.
Yeah, that's one of the things you always say consistently. When there's a ball played across, you either head it or strike it back the other way. It's a perfect exhibit of that.
Yeah, you wrong foot the keeper because the momentum for Felipe Rodriguez, he's going with the ball, right? He's going left.
Yeah.
But now as an attacker, you want to test his agility to go back the other way. So many times the keeper doesn't have that ability to get back down. Good header, textbook header from a proven goal scorer in this league.
As Ricky mentioned, his second goal this season. He had 10 of them last year for San Diego. San Diego no longer with us in USL Championship. So he continues to add to his resume here in 2024. If North Carolina can get double-digit goals out of Conway, you get any other complementary pieces for Luis Perez, you'll be in good shape. For Perez, it's his 3rd assist of the season. And more importantly for North Carolina, the reward that they were searching for in the first half comes here in half number 2. And Ricky pulling no punches here, but it feels like even though it's 1-0 North Carolina, might as well be 4-0.
So now you start to see the confidence starting to grow, especially when you're getting around that 18-yard box for North Carolina FC, or players that want to get on the end of things. And now you have to really test Miami FC. Now they need to go search the game. Now they need to stretch out just a little bit more and offer something going forward. So now the balance for the home side needs to become that much more important.
Shots are 9-1 in favor of North Carolina. 4 of them on target. Expected goals, 0.58 for North Carolina, 0.02 for Miami FC. Molina here, working against Paco Craig. Maldonado off the carom. Ball's given away. Beak. Cabral. Back to Beak. Conway. Like a gnat on a flame. Tight corner operation for Miami FC. Doing a good job of keeping possession. What materialized into anything fruitful? The answer right now, no. Well, can't do anything about it if you're Rodriguez conceding that goal. It was quickly after Andrew Booth that went down. And Luis Perez not waiting for the defense to get set up. perfectly timed ball into the box, and when Conway, the lucky recipient, makes it count. Second goal of the season, man from Whitefish Bay, Wisconsin. Washington, who was nicked up here in the second half, appearing to be okay. There's some physicality there at the top of the screen. Medrano, just a common foul, but looked a little bit more egregious than that.
A little bit frustrating for Medrano showed. Comes in late, catches Luis Perez on the follow through, knows exactly what he's doing. The outside back for Miami FC.
Miami right now, losers of 3 straight. They've dropped 7 of 8. 8 of 9 if you're including the US Open Cup. And just look at the 2 wins and how it happened. They beat Colorado Springs, their inaugural game here in the 2024 season. And they beat San Antonio at home as well. 2 quality victories. Push forward, given away. Genzano was the intended target. So now Miami, they've conceded 22 goals on the year. And Villa a mile offside. Yeah, so you look at the goals for, the goals against, and Ricky, they've only had 1 clean sheet on the year. You're not going to score a lot of goals. Got to do everything you can defensively to pack it in.
I don't think it really helps them that Miami FC also gives so many turnovers in dangerous positions. From 20, 25 yards out, throwing the ball over extremely easy. Now they can afford to decide to be more aggressive in their pressing nature, to get more numbers higher up the field. It's a recipe for more goals being scored.
McGuire looking for another clean sheet on the season. Trying to get his 3rd win of the year. That ball way too long for Ian Billa. That's a fine job marking by Brewer. Maldonado, nice pass, good finesse. Conway on the left-hand side. Anderson here lines it up. Nice block, though, by Cardona. Great recovery there by number 4.
Yeah, really good recovery run and 1v1 defending from Cardona. Johnson gets caught out. It's a 2v2 going back the other way. With this ball, if you're Anderson, needs to be playing to the path of Conway. Just roll it into him, let him run onto it and smack it. And as he's falling, he goes for the selfish decision up and over the crossbar. That's a sign of a striker that really hasn't gone off the start that he wanted in his USL Championship career. 1 goal only thus far.
Making his 7th start of the season, the man from St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Maldonado with some pretty solid placement of corners in the opening half. Pretty decent ball there too, but Rodriguez holding his ground as it goes sailing over the crossbar. 59th minute. I was going to ask you what Antonio Nocerino would do different here in the second half, but now you're down a goal, Ricky. There feels like you can only do so much, and Alan Galvanez is one of those guys that can make an impact for you. Granted, he's not 100%. We don't know at what rate he's working at, but The team's leading goal scorer this season comes in for Andrew Booth. Gavilanes has a step. Iambilla looking for him. That ball played way too out in front.
Gavilanes, 4 goals on this season. Now you have a little bit of a presence to play into. A player that can hold up the ball very comfortable in tight spaces. Can create for himself and can bring others into this game. I haven't seen him over the course of a couple weeks due to injury. Good to see him back. And that's Miami FC trying to call himself into this game once again.
The intent was there from Beek, but the pass picked off. Molina. Beek couldn't hustle to get to it in time, but Cardona there to back him up. Luisinho. Nicely played through with good finesse. Genzano, the cross all the way across looking for Gavilanes. That ball had way too much velocity on it. Too hot to handle, and Gavilanes, go-go gadget legs, not gonna stretch out that far.
Fantastic ball in from Beek. Whether he just opens up his hips and let this play develop. Perfectly weighted, but now if you're Genzano, you need to make a decision. You either go on yourself or you put into the path and you find a darker jersey. He's caught between two minds, way too much weight behind this. No chance whatsoever for any teammate to get on the end of it.
That's a great point. Beek put that ball in a perfect spot. Rain's not an impact now, Ricky, but yeah, as you mentioned, I mean, it's like putting on the green at Augusta. He put that ball right on the money.
Good. Yes.
62nd minute. And the advantage is 1 for North Carolina. Conway looking for more. He's got the lone marker. Conway with an angle, kept his footing. Toronto nearly dragged him down. Maldonado to Conway. He can pull it. He lobs it though. Back post. Perez was lurking. Here's Armstrong. Armstrong, the intent though on the opposite side for Conway, who came in like a missile, but that ball had too much run on it. Brewer doing a good job picking in the pocket. Softly played, Gavilanes with the intercept. There's Allen. Allen doing a good job of hustling and maintaining possession here for Miami. 63rd minute, Miami's got time. The question is, do they have any kind of offensive punch? Brewer gave that ball away. Here's Luisinho. See if he could get off a shot. He does, but that ball had no steam on it. Second save of the night for McGuire. Both of them have been about as easy as one can make. And we play out with North Carolina having a 1-goal lead. Oh, we do have a moment. Select, the official match ball supplier of the USL Championship and many elite leagues throughout Europe. Visit us.select-sport.com for list select products, specials, and more. Select, player's choice. Scattered play, and these two teams mucking it up in the middle of the park.
Over 2,000 Toyotas are in stock and on their way to Toyota of Hollywood. Get our lowest price on every Toyota, including Corolla, Camry, Highlander, Tacoma, and RAV4. Like a Corolla LE, not $24,000, $17,975. We'll pay you up to $2,000 over Kelley Blue Book value for your trade. That's $2,000 more than it's worth at Toyota of Hollywood on 441 between Hollywood Boulevard and Sheridan Street. Open till midnight.
Back here at FIU Soccer Stadium with Ricky Lopez Espin. I'm David Gascon and our entire crew here in South Florida. One of those nights, Ricky. It's been one of those seasons, though. Have you been a part of rebuilding organizations at either the MLS or the USL Championship level?
I have not.
What about the collegiate level? No.
Negative.
So you've had an easy life, that's what you're telling me.
I wouldn't say easy, but I have not gone through, let's say, the growing pains that we've seen Miami FC have to go through in 2024. And I do think we're talking to the technical staff, the front office in the offseason, they expected it, right? They knew there was going to be a massive overhaul, a different look into the roster, because so many times when we looked at Miami FC earlier in the USL Championship, it was more experience, it was a higher payroll, it was players that have won at other levels, whether it was over in Europe, whether it was at MLS level, wherever it may be. But now you, as this new era is coming in, now you dip into the youth, you get Antonio Chirino, his first professional head coaching job. So there's a lot of growing pains, a lot of adaptivity, there's a lot of pivoting that you have to be able to find out on the fly.
Yeah.
And yes, the results maybe haven't been the best, only picking up 8 points, or 6 points here, excuse me, for this Miami FC side. You see building block, you see some glimpses, and it's going to do a world of good in terms of the lessons that they're learning in the season this far.
Well, it's interesting because you can pick up a lot of different things on the defensive side for lessons. But I guess the question is, offensively, how can you learn? Because a lot of this has to do with movement, fluidity, cohesiveness, or defensively, you feel like a lot of that is just more along the lines of being in the exact spot that you need to be in, communicating, and working as one unit on the backside. But yes, they have certainly taken their lumps. And Ricky, for all intents and purposes, it's probably the better route to go, right? You bring in new guys with a lower payroll, as opposed to last season when you had a high payroll, and the guys still weren't performing.
100%.
Yeah. It's almost the equivalent of teaching one how to drive, but with a beat up lemon, as opposed to, you know, one of your Ferraris or Porsches or something like that, right? You're gonna wreck the car anyway, so you might as well do it with a younger roster. And those trials and tribulations, they'll eventually be played out. The question is, what will the finished product look like in 2024? And will these players be around in 2025?
And what do you learn from those lessons, right?
Yeah.
How do you take what you've learned and execute it over when you walk across the white line the next time? Like, for example, the way you concede this goal, it's just sloppy marking the box. You can't let Evan Conway get goal side, get on the blind side of the two center backs. So now you go back and you watch film and to understand that when the ball goes wide, the center back, I have to have my hips open so I can see the ball, but I can also see the run.
Yeah.
Little things like that. You expect that, like I say, the growing pains, but now the next time in, how do you rectify that? How do you take that next step in the progression?
22 goals they've conceded in regular season activity. Gave up 4 in the US Open Cup, but it was a one and done for them. '69th minute. Conway is in the middle of the pitch. Left side, Armstrong. Ezra grabs the corner. He does. Backside post, and they score. Beautifully developed play there, and Anderson, the lucky recipient on the back post. In the 69th minute, North Carolina with a 2-goal lead.
Carolina FC goal scored by number 9, Alex Anderson.
Really well worked goal here for North Carolina. You change your point of attack. Now you let Ezra Armstrong go to work. A player that has 2 goals on the season gets by his individual marker. You just see the quality to bring this back across. No presence whatsoever as Knutson pulls off. No Cardona, no Mitrano, but the only man that is there at the doorstep is Anderson to get his 2nd on the season, and more importantly, to give NCFC here the lead on the road.
69th minute, the insurance marker. Almost feels like that's more than enough damage tonight for North Carolina. But a tip of the cap to Armstrong, we just mentioned was part of the USL Team of the Week of week number 11. Adding to his tally with an assist now. 70th minute, and a world of hurt for Miami FC. Ezra jumping up on the play again. Tries to hurdle over Cardona, can't bring the ball with him though. And now Trevor Weissman, our lead official, bringing on training staff for North Carolina. We'll get a player down, looks like Brewer, and it is Brewer. Man from Sacramento, California has been wearing a lot of grass tonight. He's been all over the place. He is worn out. Didn't see the contact, but appears to be okay.
Those are the types of goals now that if you are John Bradford, you love to see that you work on the training ground. You have your outside back get involved in the final third. Now it's the late post run. An easy tap in as an attacking style team. You want to make that near post, top of 6, and back post run. You get rewarded for Anderson. Great to see that having come to fruition if you are John Bradford.
John don't look too happy. I don't know why. There's John. Team's in control. They have not been in a vulnerable spot tonight.
Your attention please, substitution for your Miami FC.
John's been with North Carolina FC's program since back in 2013, so you look at where he has been and what he has done. 4 seasons the head coach, but he's been with the organization for quite a while. Played collegiate ball at Furman. Trying to build the winner here in USL Championship. Perez looking for Armstrong, gave it away to Anderson. Anderson with the move, he tries to go to the left side. That ball gets airmailed. Oh, he had a good step in the back line, but just too much lift.
How good of a ball is this from Luis Perez? The way that he receives this thing with his hips open, facing forward, and he just rifles it. Just watch the space between the 2 center backs, that little window. Fantastic first touch to create that separation from Anderson. That's when you're asking about the composure. You don't need to go for power. You just need to kindly open up your foot, slot it into the either near post or far post. Tries to swing for the fences. That's why it goes up and over. In hindsight, he's going to look at this one and says he should be better with that opportunity.
Anderson's played well tonight. And to North Carolina's credit, they've been sound. They have not given Miami FC anything to think about in a positive light.
Visiting North Carolina FC. Out number 8, Luis Perez. In number 10, Jalen Sergio.
Looks like we'll have a few changes for North Carolina.
In number 16, Rodrigo Da Costa. In the 74th
So a few changes for John Bradford, and you can make those changes when you have the advantage. Rodrigo Da Costa coming in now. Da Costa with a goal and a couple of assists this year, the man from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Making his 12th appearance now of the season. He's come off the bench only a couple times for North Carolina. He had a monster 2023 campaign with Memphis 901. He had 12 goals a year ago with them. But a new address, a new zip code. We'll see if the new kits have any change in his offensive productivity. Genzano's in some trouble. Turnover here at DaCosta. Flung it over on the right-hand side. That shot fought off. Rodriguez left on his back line by his lonesome. Miami FC in danger of having this thing look ugly, Ricky.
Yet again, it's a sloppy turnover. This time it's Genzano that gets his pocket picked. Evan Conway just opens up his hips a little bit too early as Rodriguez just sees this thing and pushes it wide. Look at North Carolina FC trying to line up the score sheet here. Players smell blood in the water trying to get their third goal here on the road.
'76th minute. Tia Gagliardi also coming in for Miami FC. So Anderson and Conway doing the damage offensively.
Let's go wide.
Paco Craig all smiles right now for North Carolina. Back post, misjudged it there by Rodriguez, and they score. Maldonado, who's placed the ball perfectly in a couple of occasions there, had plenty of a hook on that corner kick. And when things are going right, Ricky, for one team, things are going real bad for the other. It is 3-0 North Carolina.
Talked about how important set pieces can be. The win plays a factor, yes. You just see the bodies. That little step from Felipe Rodriguez cost him. Let's take nothing away from the utter brilliance and technical ability. The whippage from Maldonado. 3-0 to the visitors.
Yeah, give him a lot of credit to Batista. We mentioned it earlier, he's 6'5". He did a good job of shielding that line of sight from Rodriguez. And for Rodriguez, he couldn't get around him.
Yeah, it's Maldonado's second goal. I think he's been really good. 77 minutes here. Dictating tempo, the flow, the way that North Carolina wants to play. Him and Colin Martin, like I said earlier, have a nice little relationship in the center of the park for John Bradford.
In his 11th match, scoring his second goal, and a man that was part of the USL League One first team a year ago. Molina, back post, that one on goal, grabs Woodwork and it stays out. Gavilanes on the back side along with Luisinho. McGuire was beat cleanly, but it's been that kind of a night.
Dicing ball in from Molino. It does seem like it's Gagliardi at the far post. Just so unlucky, does everything right. Tries to sneak it into that far post.
Shots are 14-2 in favor of North Carolina. DaCosta couldn't keep it. Rodriguez almost lost his footing. That was a mad scramble, and somehow he was able to evade everybody. 79th minute. Feels all academic from here. It's just a matter of McGuire's going to pick up a clean sheet or not. McGuire, who has 2 of them on the season, trying to grab number 3. It's been a sound game for North Carolina tonight, Ricky.
Your attention, please. Substitution for North Carolina FC.
Corey Hayes coming into the affair. Colin Martin removed. So 6 in, 17 out.
in the 79th
for John
minute.
Bradford. Hayes only making his 3rd appearance of the season. Former Demon Deacon, he played ball at Wake Forest. Drafted by FC Dallas. Super draft of MLS. Played 72 matches with FC Dallas. And dude's got an excellent post-playing career on the horizon. Received a master's in nano engineering from NC State, Ricky.
It's impressive.
Did you get your degree in at Creighton?
International business.
International business.
Trying to be like you.
Oh my gosh. Oh, please do not be like me. Word of the wise. International business. We can make you a statesman. Can we call you Governor?
That means I have
Lopez
to.
Espin.
That means I have to leave the booth. I like hanging out with you.
I'm not that fun.
Oh, stop.
International business. That's perfect for you. Doing your business on your yacht, going from Brickell to
Dominican Republic.
Like you going to like the Cane Festival in France.
Birdie told me that's where you're off to tomorrow.
That's a rumor. It's all conjecture right now. So, living day by day. Here's Armstrong. Armstrong with a nice move. DaCosta open the right-hand side. Unselfish ball. Conway has that ball airlifted. Should be 4-0. It's not the case.
Just a bit casual from Evan Conway as a result, but just look at the lack of defending. It's just so easy. No one really putting in a challenge. Conway sends Matrono to the ground. It's emergency defending and recovery from Knutson. But just 2 passes. It's simple football in the end from North Carolina. Now you have all players in a home kit scrambling.
'82nd minute. Another Toyota of Hollywood corner kick. Shots 15-2. Possession geared towards Miami, but doesn't mean a whole lot. Conway's header off the mark. He sensed it and frustrated. He should have had at least 3 here in the second half.
Fantastic ball in yet again from Cervania. 3 yards out. Free header for a player this quality. It's going to leave Antonio Chirino very frustrated. He knows he could do better. He should be doing better. Evan Conway yet again.
A lot of good that North Carolina can take from this game. 3 goals is one thing, but the way that they have played, especially at set pieces, is pretty darn good. Batista, who's down. Get a good look at Cardona. Miami FC has an expected goal rate of .03 in this match. North Carolina 1.07. A couple more changes for that man, John Bradford. Garrett McLaughlin coming in. As John's emptying his bench, as they'd say. Batista's still down. They'll get a week off before they return back to work against Lou City. Miami FC will take on Lou City here in a week from now on June the 1st. Trevor Weissman trying to speed this thing up.
Let's go. Take it way too long. Up here.
As you can hear the rumblings of a hot microphone. Got 2 changes coming for North Carolina in a brief moment.
Let him work.
Conway. Costa, right-hand side. Corey Hayes, who just came into the affair. Don't know if you could take a whole lot when you look at the other 6-7 teams in front of North Carolina in the Eastern Conference from today's result, but clearly have some talent. It's just a matter of can they make it consistent like everybody else. Conway going to exit the night. Did his thing. Had a goal, could have had a couple more, but his second goal of the season was the first one on the night. Anderson in the 69th minute, Maldonado in the 77th minute. Summersall coming in, Raheem, man from St. Kitts and Nevis. Have you been to St. Kitts and Nevis? Never. No.
You?
No, never. Never traveled certain parts of the globe that are rather close to South Florida, Caribbean for that matter. But I've heard plenty of good things. Turks and Caicos, one of those. The DR, of course. '86th minute here. Hayes brought all the way back. So you like Indy 11 out of the US Open Cup. I guess right now the Eastern Conference, besides Charleston, is there anyone that could potentially shock them as the season goes along?
I think you have to think of Blue City.
Yeah.
I think they're the next in line. Not the best showing for them against Rhode Island earlier today, but you look at what Danny Cruz is doing with that side, the talent that they have, and yet they have games in hand of Charleston Battery. I think now it's down to 2, and a 5-point gap between the two of them. But it's the beauty of USL Championship now in 2024. You talk to every single head coach, and there's no easy games. No disrespect to the two teams before. It was most likely it was more academy players that were just getting experience.
Yeah.
But now as those guys, as those sides have gone to MLS Next Pro, it's more independent clubs. I mean, Loudoun's not the same Loudoun. Ryan Martin has more talent, more experienced players. So from the top of the table to the bottom of the table, every game is competitive.
Do you put a lot of stock in winning the Players' Shield?
I do.
You do?
I do. You tell a trophy in that's a fantastic ball.
See if it gets there. Gagliardi shoots. That one goes wide to the right side.
It's the second opportunity now that Gagliardi gets on the end of it. But how good is this ball?
Let's go, Keith.
Takes out about 6 players of NCFC. Defending units. Molina just carves through. Picture perfect vision, picture perfect weight. All Gagliardi needs to do on it is just run onto it, get his hips around it. See the frustration from the winger?
Yeah, I guess the question I posed to you about the Players' Shield is, you know, at the end of the day, you have that to show for it, but you're ultimately playing for the grand prize. And so we saw what Phoenix did last year, and coming up to bite everybody. They had a rather ho-hum regular season, and then all of a sudden grabbed a bolt and lightning, and it was lights out. Coming on, goal and all. Rodriguez gets beat on a nice squeaky shot, and it goes by him in the 89th minute, and that is all she wrote. With that kind of a night, and Rodriguez, DaCosta, all smiles there. But you look at what McLaughlin did to Rodriguez, just a simple redirect in the 89th, and it's 4-0 North Carolina.
Good ball in from Rodrigo DaCosta. I don't even know if McLaughlin touches it. Just runs off to it and sends Rodriguez packing. Be very interesting to see who gets credited for this.
Oh, he didn't make a move at all.
Yeah,
that's going to be DaCosta's goal.
Really clever from Kieran McLaughlin. Those are the ones as a goalkeeper, as a defender. you read and you go with the player, you don't read the ball, you don't see the ball. Really peculiar goal. How quickly this thing gets out of hand for Miami FC.
Curious who won the rock, paper, scissors between those two guys. That was DaCosta who's going to get credit for the goal. We're in the 90th minute. So if it is in fact confirmed that it'll be DaCosta, it'll be his second goal of the season. Conway, Maldonado, Anderson, DaCosta. So North Carolina has more goals tonight than Miami has shots. McLaughlin here. Armstrong. Waiting for full confirmation, and we got it now. 8 minutes of added time. I don't know where that 8 minutes came from, Ricky. I'll be frank. I mean,
I'm with you. I'm with you.
DaCosta. I guess the question is, what does that serve if you're Trevor Weissman?
I mean, so many times when you see a game like this that's maybe as lopsided, there's no stoppage time.
Yeah.
Right? It's, I don't want to say respect to the teams, but
and respect to the combatants is one thing. Yeah, a lot of things can go wrong now when you're adding 8 minutes of added time in a lopsided affair. I don't know what the reasoning is behind that, but Trevor Weissman delivering 8 minutes of added time. And so the fellas will play on with it. So we'll see with Miami FC down 4 goals right now. And in this moment, DaCosta will be credited with that goal. So it's the second of the season. Jersey tie there. And Jean-Francois, who just came into the contest. Not a deep bench for Antonio Nocerino. Gavilanes, Gagliardi, and Jean-Francois have all come in. John Bradford made 5 changes on his own. It's a stat-stuffing night now, Ricky, and I feel like if you're North Carolina, why not tack on another one?
talk about being ruthless. This is a really good opportunity for especially attacking players to see the ball hit the back of the net. Going to do a world of good for their confidence going forward.
Cardona heads it away. Yeah, North Carolina came into this match with a -2 goal differential, and now they're on the positive side. And yeah, scoring is contagious, so all the guys that are capable of doing damage for North Carolina have actually done just that. Conway, who had 10 goals last season, scored. DaCosta, who had 12 last season, scored. Anderson, who was League One Player of the Year in 2023, who had 17 goals last year, scored tonight. And Maldonado as well, he tallied a goal. It was 1-0 at the end of the first half. Added time, and we got another yellow card coming to Metrano. Ricky, that's kind of goes to the point of why add 8 minutes of added time. Excessive here in a one-sided tilt.
Just no need.
Yeah.
Has been issued to Miami FC's number 29, Alejandro Mitrajo. In stoppage time.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see red at some point during this added time.
And these guys are still jawing at each other. Rodrigo da Costa and Mitrano.
Unnecessary. Now it's a matter if Miami FC can break a clean sheet. But Jake McGuire on the verge of capturing his 3rd clean sheet of the season. He has not been tested at all tonight. He's seen 3 shots, 2 of them on target, but both of them easy to manage. You look at the sabermetrics and analytic charts and all that. Miami FC at .07 expected goals. 1.14 for North Carolina. Beak, chip over the left-hand side, Cardona. Gagliardi again, top of the box, can't make it. Gavilanes tries his luck with the left foot, no dice. Gavilanes, who's not playing at 100%, looks good tonight. It was okay last week in Phoenix, but again, didn't see a heavy workload. Testing the patience of a head coach and Antonio Nocerino, but you know, Ricky makes these conversations with them a bit challenging as well, because seeing the same thing week in and week out, I don't know how different of an answer you can get, right?
We asked him this week, straightforward, like, what's the message to the side?
Yeah.
You lose 2 on the bounce, you come at home against, yet again, the team sitting that's in the last playoffs place, and you say, well, how do you motivate your side? What do you talk about in the locker room? What's kind of the game plan? And he said, I don't tell them anything. They have to understand as players the importance of this match, the importance of all 3 points, and they're going to show me when they walk across the white line. And that tells you 2 things. That tells you about the trust that he instills in his players, yet with the inexperience, he believes in them. And second, just his mindset as a player. Right? When he was a player, he was a destroyer. He sat deep in the midfield. He clogged passing lanes, and he would hope that that intensity would trickle down to the players that he's coaching, and they would feel his passion. And yeah, that's not always the case. You come at home and you lose 4-0. It hasn't been the best performance yet again for Miami FC. So it's going to be really interesting this week of training for this home side, because they go again June 1st against Lou City. We mentioned is one of, if not the best team in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, no rest for the weary. A beat-up team. North Carolina going to pick up their 3rd win of the season and their first road victory here in 2024. So they'll improve their road record to 1-3-1, and they'll inch closer to 500. They'll go to 3-4-5, and they'll grab 14 points. You get the 3 whenever you can get it, and it feels like for North Carolina, if they're going to make any kind of headway in the Eastern Conference and grab one of the playoff spots, they have to win matches like this, and this thing has finally come to a conclusion. And for North Carolina, pillar to post, they beat up Miami FC. Rodrigo da Costa and company, a drubbing, 4-0 the final here tonight.
Convincing from minute 1 to minute 98 for the visitors. The better side outclassed Miami FC, offered a little bit of willingness, and yet you still want more. That man from John Bradford tells you the standard that's set from the side that won the USL League One Championship last season. And for Antonio Nocerino and Miami FC, it's the same story, right? You do well the first 10 minutes, but it's silly mistakes. You get spread apart. You're not taking your chances, and yet you drop another 3 big points at home.
Evan Conway, his second goal of the season, was the lone marker tonight that was needed. They tacked on 3 insurance markers, but for Conway, his second goal of the year, the game-winning goal, and North Carolina FC wins it tonight over Miami FC by a final score of 4-0. Post-game show right around the corner. We'll be back.
And season memberships are still available. Don't miss out on the excitement for this 2024 season.
Over 2,000 Toyotas are in stock and on their way to Toyota of Hollywood. Get our lowest price on every Toyota, including Corolla, Camry, Highlander, Tacoma, and RAV4. Like a Corolla LE, not $24,000, $17,975. We'll pay you up to $2,000 over Kelley Blue Book value for your trade. That's $2,000 more than it's worth at Toyota of Hollywood on 441 between Hollywood Boulevard and Sheridan Street. Open till midnight.
Back here from FIU Soccer Stadium, North Carolina wins it over Miami FC 4-0 with Ricky Lopez-Espin. I am David Gascon. Ricky, time for our Cricket Wireless Man of the Match. Who do we have here tonight for Miami?
Yeah, it's really interesting. You say you lose 4-0, but yet Rodriguez, I thought he was really good. Yeah. I mean, he made some really good saves, timely saves for the young goalkeeper, only 19 years of age, commanded his 6-yard box, but unfortunately didn't really get the help that he deserved from the players around him. But it's something to be proud about. I thought he held himself very well, and he is our well-deserved man of the match.
Yeah, he came into the fire, saw 17 shots. 4 got past him as we look at the full-time highlights in this thing, and it really was all about what North Carolina did in the second half.
But you just see it's the same thing. It's a really poor defending from Knutson. He turns away from the ball.
Yeah.
Doesn't even see the flight of it. Evan Conway just says, thank you very much. Off the shoulder, really good header, back across where it came from, and it's 1-0. The visiting side. We fast forward just a little bit later. Really good work. Once again, Knutson gets caught with the run from Maldonado. And Alex Anderson says, yet again, an easy finish. About 2 yards out. There's no tracking, there's no rotation, there's no communication whatsoever from the back line for Miami FC. 2-0 for the visitors.
Yeah, and for Rodriguez, no chance on that. Anderson's second goal of the season. Conway also grabbing his second as well. And that was more than enough as Anderson and company continued to pour it on in the 77th minute. And here is a highlight for Maldonado.
Really good service of the ball. The ability is whipping a ball from a set piece. Maldonado, you just see Omar Batista just does enough to throw off Rodriguez up and over. That's one that he's going to remember for the rest of his days. And then we go back to a really interesting goal. Good ball in from Rodrigo da Costa. So clever from McLaughlin. Just lets it roll, throws Rodriguez off with his body movement, runs over the ball, trickles into the back of the net. I don't think I've ever seen a goal like that.
We've seen a lot of firsts this season with Miami. Unfortunate for them, and they fall 4-0 as a score. You see the shots and the goal total. North Carolina 4 goals to just 3 shots for Miami FC, 2 of them on target. But everything going towards North Carolina. They were the better team tonight. They were the superior team. They had the more talent, and they deserved it.
They did. They deserved all 3 points, and it's going to be interesting what the reaction looked like for Antonio Chirino's side. We mentioned how important he messaged to his boys, saying these 3 points are massive for us to turn the tide, to really kickstart our season, but yet you come out and you're only good for the first 20 minutes. Now it's a consistency factor. How do you get those 20 minutes over the course of 90 minutes? For all 3 points going back to North Carolina.
Yeah, Miami's lost 4 in a row now. The record falls to 2-9-1. And for North Carolina, they move their record to 3-4-5, good for 14 points. That's going to do it here from FIU Soccer Stadium. Our next broadcast will be next week on June the 1st against Lou City. Kickoff time is at 7 p.m. Eastern. For Ricky Lopez-Espin, I'm David Gascon and our entire crew. So long from Miami. Miami FC falls to North Carolina 4-0 the final. Have a great Memorial Day weekend, everyone. So long.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.